welcome back to a Monday edition of Wisconsin Weather Experts. We experienced quite the weather in some communities late last night and this morning in southeast Wisconsin. It was a small little bubble, but the snow totals are up there.
They're huge, and we're going to show you some incredible viewer pictures coming up in just a bit. Now, of course, over the weekend, officially, we did experience the first snow. Minor event compared to what went on last night, Sunday night, and then into Monday morning. Of course, huge dumping of snow for areas in southeastern Wisconsin into northern Illinois, Indiana, Michigan. Earlier this morning, our photojournalist Jeff Frings was out in Racine and Kenosha areas to show you some of the road conditions, which by any definition were not easy to drive on.
They're trapped. Sorry, that's the wrong camera. They're stuck. What happens is, I almost got stuck trying to get into a convenience store that hasn't been plowed. And this one here, when you're trying to get out, you can't see where the driveway is. And even if you could, if it hasn't been plowed or the main road has been plowed, then there's a big pile of snow. And if you're not driving a four-wheel drive vehicle, you get stuck. There were 3 or 4 people trying to get this person out, and they've been shoveling for a while now. And if I go back to the front camera, you can see this person just barely got out. This person to the left, this gray car in front of me, they're having a hard time getting out even from the parking lot, not the part that's been plowed in. So this person is having a hard time moving. And if I pull forward a little bit here, you'll be able to see this person in the blue car here. They're also stuck. They're stuck in the gas station. They can't even get out of the gas station. So if you don't have four-wheel drive down in southern Kenosha County, you are going to have a hard time getting a lot of places. There's another car stuck, the car just in front of this blue car. They're stuck trying to get in because they're stuck in the big snow pile trying to get into the gas station. There was just another car like 15 minutes ago that was stuck in that same exact spot. So there are a number of cars that are stuck just trying to get in and out of gas station parking lot, and I've seen a number of cars stuck trying to get in and out of subdivisions or neighborhoods that are also plowed in like this. So it's not a fun situation for a lot of people down here in Kenosha County right now.
Yeah, what a mess. I mean, that clip tells the story right there. You're seeing some pictures for sure. There were some Racine and Kenosha County schools that were closed. Tons of folks ended up stuck in that up to 13, 14 inches worth of snow.
Yeah, and so here are some viewer photos too sent in to our website. And just a reminder too, you can send any of your photos, snow related or not, to fox6now.com. But this is from Racine, another one from Kenosha. You know,
the puppy looks like it's happy.
Right, and you know there's a lot of snow when you're using your dog as the measuring device, right? The snow comes up to their bellies. That's a lot of snow.
Look at the piles in Racine.
Right, and all of the trees too. You know, a lot of them still have leaves on them. So it's this really interesting sight in these spots as you woke up this morning to still see beautiful fall foliage, yet everything coated in white. Again, a pretty stereotypical picture there with snow covering the table out in the patio, footprints in the snow on that stairwell. You know,
well, that's what that is. I couldn't figure out what the wavy pattern was.
Oh, sure.
Makes sense now that you say it's stairs, but there's so much snow you couldn't tell.
I know, it truly looks like a winter wonderland. This is from Pleasant Prairie. Again, a lot of snowfall immediately near the lakeshore from Wind Point in Racine down to Pleasant Prairie, all the way down into northern Illinois. You know, it's a hard jump into your first snow being a foot. You got to break out the shovel. You got to break out. I mean, kudos to anybody who actually had gas in their snow plow.
That was planning that far ahead. I mean, what did you know, right? But
I mean, tricky to say the very least. But that's the way lake effect is, you know. Sometimes the wind can keep it just offshore. Other times it impacts a small area, but it's always heavy when we see it.
And it just keeps going and going and going. I'm sure some of you may have seen some of the photos of the snow hills over the weekend, just cranking up the snow machine. Now, that was, of course, what happened last night and this morning. Things looked a little bit different over the course of the weekend when we technically got our first official snow that arrived Saturday night. This video shows a little bit of that, and of course, that did qualify as our first snowfall of the season. This is I-94 US 18. Wasn't particularly pleasant either, but a far stretch from what we got this morning. Milwaukee did officially receive its first trace of snow on Saturday.
And here's another viewer photo. This is kind of what I was talking about in Kenosha, but this was actually from Sunday. This is from Philip, one of our viewers who captured this unique image of snow covering the ground with the fall foliage still in place. This is in St. Francis.
That's what you expect for an early snow season.
Exactly.
Nice little dusting with the fall leaves there, not the, more than a foot worth trying to collapse your patio tables.
Right, exactly.
But of course, heavy lake effect, we weren't alone in that. It also blanketed Millennium Park in Chicago. Low visibility at times, making it nearly impossible to see the skyline as the high snowfall rates absolutely cranked up there. South of Chicago in moments, you've got, that's in Kankakee County, by the way. Lisa captured this photo of a foot of snow.
Wow.
Look at that. You can see the imprint of the door.
Right.
So, yes, some huge piles there as well.
Yeah, just incredible. And so the snow we got today is lake effect snow, which can commonly be confused with lake enhanced snow. Throughout the winter, we will likely talk about them both.
We'll get both a lot, yeah.
Is a key difference, right? Chief Meteorologist Tom Walks will explain that difference. Listen.
Well, you've heard of lake effect snow before, but what is it and how does it form? Well, for that, we have to look at a couple of different ingredients. Number one is the wind, and particularly the wind direction at the surface. You have to have a lake that is unfrozen, meaning that the moisture is available. If the lake were iced over, well, the wind isn't going to pick up any moisture. So it's got to be an unfrozen lake. Then you also have to have cold air aloft. And what we mean by that is in meteorology, we look first of all at the lake water temperature, and we compare that to what's going on at 5,000 feet. And there needs to be roughly a 13 degrees Celsius temperature difference between the lake water surface and 5,000 feet for an ideal setup for lake effect snow. So then we talk about that wind direction, and the more of the wind that is blowing across the long part of the lake, the more moisture it's going to pick up. And that's what we call a fetch in meteorology. So if we had, for example, in this case, let's say we had a northerly wind going straight down the lake from north to south. That's why a lot of times northwest Indiana gets hit hard with lake effect snow, because that fetch, as it's known, it's a long fetch straight down the lake, picking up all that moisture, creating that lake effect snow, and depositing it on land. We often see it in western Michigan because the prevailing winds in the atmosphere are typically out of the west or sometimes out of the northwest. It's a little more rare to get winds out of the east or northeast, which is why we don't see as much lake effect snow, let's say in Milwaukee, as they do in Muskegon. Well, now that we've talked about lake effect snow, what about lake enhanced snow? What is that? Well, it's similar, but it's different. So lake enhanced snow is a similar process to lake effect snow in that you have the winds coming in off the lake. It's the same type of ingredients, that temperature difference between the lake surface and 5,000 feet that we look at in meteorology. But the one key difference here is when you're talking about lake effect snow, those are bands of snow, bands of lake effect snow that are forming in absence of a storm system. Meanwhile, lake enhanced snow is when you get those lake effect bands, but in a system where it's already snowing. So it's enhancing the snow that is already falling. So in this case, you can see some heavier swaths of snow here, and that is what we call lake enhanced snow. So it's snowing everywhere, but you're kind of getting these banded structures within the snow itself, and that's because of the wind blowing across the lake, picking up that lake moisture and enhancing the snow in localized areas in bands, causing higher totals. So again, lake effect snow is the snow that forms in absence of a storm system. Lake enhanced snow is the same process, but it is that lake effect snow that's forming within a storm system that is already in place. So it's enhancing the snow that's already falling.
There you go.
There you go.
And yes, we will get both over the course of the winter.
Yes.
Obviously, we're off to a running start in the lake effect snow
Yes.
category. But if it makes you feel any better, we were not alone getting snow of any kind over the last little while. Snow began falling in Sioux City, South Dakota on Saturday morning, causing this. Some grassy and elevated surfaces got snowed over pretty quickly. Nice little fresh blanket there. Even caused some roads to be covered as well. Winter weather advisory was issued over the weekend for that area. Thankfully, due to the warm pavement this time of year, the snow kind of melted for the drivers. You can see it's like a wet pavement in their background there.
Yeah.
Now take a look at the video from Ames, Iowa. Whoa, visibility there. This is a lot like what we saw this morning from the lake effect snows. This is Ames, Iowa over the weekend. Blinding snow and additional snowfall causing the National Weather Service to extend their winter weather advisory for that region.
Yeah.
Now, it has calmed down, but there's still a lot to talk about, so let's get started with our regional outlook.
Yeah, exactly. In fact, let's just go right on into recapping what we experienced this morning. Kudos to my colleague, Lisa Michaels, who put this graphic together. Really puts into perspective the small area that was impacted by the lake effect. It was a narrow band to start. It's a little broader right now as we speak, but it was a narrow band to start, and it really just cut through eastern parts of Racine as well as Kenosha County. But it brought in a lot of snow, an inch-per-hour snowfall rate, which we oftentimes see with these stronger lake effect snow bands. This was also convective type snow, so a thunder snow shower was not out of the question here. Haven't necessarily heard reports from that in these areas, but down south in the Chicago area, there was a little bit of that yesterday. But again, zooming in a little bit, wind point all the way down through southern Kenosha County here, all the way down into Illinois, we experienced this band of lake effect. Now, specifically, wind point, North Bay, Racine, places like Elmwood Park, over 8 inches of snowfall. But even as you got west a little bit more, even Sturtevant, a couple inches worth of snow, but the heaviest was certainly near Lake Michigan. The highest snowfall total we have seen so far from the National Weather Service coming from Pleasant Prairie. And that's over 13 inches, 13 and a half to be more exact. A few more down the list here. Elmwood Park 10 and a half, Wind Point 10 and a half, Kenosha 9 and a half, and Racine a little bit lower, but still for your first snow of the season, that is a big snow to shovel and to snow plow. And you can see we're in good company here. There were a lot of spots over, and this is just over the last 24 hours, but throughout the weekend, Door County experienced a lot of snowfall, as well as parts of northern Wisconsin, especially then into parts of Michigan, Illinois, as well as Indiana. In fact, there were parts of northwest Indiana even yesterday that picked up a ton of snowfall, and they're experiencing our lake effect right now. So this is just another batch of lake effect for those areas. You can see as far as headlines go, there are still a couple of spots along, especially the coast of Lake Michigan into Michigan State, that are under some of those winter headlines. Also notice, though, unrelated to lake effect, down towards the south, they are experiencing snow too. Systems bringing light snow, but enough to bring in winter weather advisories for those states, again, just towards the southeast of us. So you can see that lake effect band right now impacting more so Michigan State as well as northwestern Indiana. Watching the cameras along Lake Michigan and in Michigan State have been fascinating as the band has gotten closer to coming on shore. Every Great Lake right now is producing lake effect snow, and this is the typical time of year for that, especially late fall when we have this colder air mass moving over these still warmer lake temperatures. That's really just one of the main factors you need. Again, Tom mentioned it. You still need the wind direction, a couple more factors, but every lake right now is producing lake effect snow. Here's the view from St. Joseph, Michigan. Again, that snow band is starting to make its way on shore, so those will be the spots that deal with it here throughout the day. Here's that other system, again, towards the southeast of us, bringing in snow to places like southern Ohio, Kentucky, Tennessee, parts of the Virginias, and then again, as you look up towards the north, still some lake effect towards the northeast as well. It's a lot calmer out towards the west right now, but there is one disturbance that will slowly work its way eastward throughout the rest of today and could bring in a few flurries back to Wisconsin tomorrow morning, though doesn't look to have any huge impacts here locally. So that is some good news. Diving into the rest of today, all of the messy weather stays east of us. We across Wisconsin will continue to see a mix of clouds and sun, but with that next disturbance approaching overnight tonight, we could still see a few light snow showers. I know this looks like a lot, but it looks very light. So a few light snow showers tomorrow morning flurries into about midday, and then the rest of Tuesday we dry out, and then we're gradually climbing temperature-wise the rest of the week. It is going to stay windy today, not just in Milwaukee, but across the state, so that's going to make it feel colder today as well. And tomorrow, with that next disturbance rolling on in, the wind is actually going to increase a little bit, so gusts could potentially be over 30 miles per hour at times. That means both today and tomorrow, wind chill is going to be something you want to pay attention to. Look at the state right now. I mean, it's 12:15 into the afternoon, and we still feel like low 20s in a lot of spots. So plan on a chilly day today, chilly day tomorrow. High temperatures today will be colder, only in the 30s. Tomorrow, at least southern Wisconsin should crack those low 40s. But look at all of the spots, especially across the Great Lakes region, but extending down into places like Atlanta and the East Coast that are much colder than they should be for this time of year. But out towards the west, improving conditions temperature-wise, we'll slowly see that moving in our direction here into the next couple of days. So chilly today, chilly tomorrow. Then notice by the middle of the week, we could see those 50s back in the forecast, and by the weekend, maybe even pushing upper 50s nearing 60. And there is still more above average warmth in the extended forecast as we look ahead to the next couple of weeks. Now the average will be dropping here, but I do still think we'll see 50s sticking around for at least a short time longer. So if you're more so a fan of true fall weather, here in Milwaukee will return by the middle and end of the week. That's the latest look at your regional weather. We'll take a live look outside right now, where we still have a few clouds out there, but much calmer conditions than this morning. We have more Wisconsin weather experts coming up. Everybody to Wisconsin Weather Experts. We've been talking a lot about snow so far this show, and we're going to keep doing that, but more so now when it comes to snowflakes. So snowflakes, as we know, are extremely small, difficult to see, and a lot of times they have very intricate details when you look up close, like if you see a picture of one up close. Yeah. Did you know that there are different types of snowflakes? Meteorologist Holly Baker has details.
Did you know that there are different types of snowflakes? Well, we're entering into the season every year of winter where we start to see more of that snow work its way into the forecast. But did you ever think that there were different types of snowflakes? And based on the type of snowflake, that also depends on the outside temperature. We're going to take a look at what those different types of snowflakes are. So we start with thin plates, ranging all the way from thin plates to needles, hollow columns, stellar plates. snowflakes, and even dendrites. Those are really the 5 different types of snowflakes, and all of these pretty much happen at different temperatures. Whenever you do have your outside temperature, they are all happening at different temperatures. We will start with the first one here, which is thin plates, and that outside temperature has to be around 25 to 32 degrees, and that is what the outside temperature has to be, and that's when you'll start to see those thin plates. Now we move forward to needles. Needles are going to be more common during the temperature of 21 degrees to 25 degrees, and as we continue to move forward with our hollow columns, that is at 14 degrees to 21 degrees, and it only gets cooler from there. Stellar plates are going to range from 10 degrees to 14 degrees, and then you have those dendrites. Those are going to range from 3 to 10 degrees, but no worries, we're going to continue to go further down. So even though you have stellar plates to take place at a warmer temperature, there also could be taking place at a cooler temperature. How about -8 to 3 degrees? That is what you can also see stellar plates to be, and even the same thing with those hollow columns. Hollow columns could even be below -8 degrees. So these are the different, or these are about the 5 types of snowflakes that you could see. So the next time it's snowing in our area, look at the temperature, try to evaluate what those snowflakes or the snow that's falling, what type of shape or what type of snowflake that it will actually be. Most of the time in our area, we're going to start with more of those thin plates, and then very rare will we get those dendrites. That just depends really when we have more of that drier snow that moves in, but we do have wet snow that's usually going to be where you have those thin plates. But next time, just hold your hand out and it'll land, but it'll also melt, but you'll be able to see what type of snowflake it is falling in your area.
It's a really cool thing, and also a great experiment with kids. Just take anything black piece of paper. I've, been out there with experiments. You could take something like a mouse pad with something black, and you put it out, and when that snow lands, you can definitely see the contrast of the bright flakes on a dark surface, and kind of test your kids' skills where they can analyze it.
It is. It's fascinating.
It's fun.
Take a picture of it. You can zoom in. I've seen so many good, professional photographers who get
amazing
pictures. So yeah, I agree. That's something fun to do this winter.
It is, and we'll still have many more occasions with snowfall ahead.
Oh, yes.
But with snow, of course, we need cold temperatures. And since temperatures have been dipping, it's time for us to talk about keeping kids warm, one coat at a time. We just kicked off the 41st annual Fox 6 Coats for Kids drive, and we need your help. You see that QR code on your screen? Scan it with your smartphone or tablet, and you can safely donate money that will get used or will allow us to buy a brand new coat for the campaign. Now, if you do have a gently loved or used coat, again, we can allow you to donate that as well. You can drop them off at Steinhafels, Landmark Credit Union, or Salvation Army locations throughout December 7th, and you can join Fox 6 at Steinhafels for a special day of drive-through collections this Wednesday on November 12th. We'll be there where you can visit us at those locations to accept your donations of new and gently loved coats. From 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., Rob Haswell will be at the Menominee Falls location on Wednesday. From 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., I will be at the Waukesha location. And from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., Tom Walks will be at the Oak Creek location. You can drive up, say hi to us. We'll collect your coats from your kids for donations. And as an added bonus, if you do come out on Wednesday, the first 200 cars at each location to donate at least 4 coats will get a pair of ticket vouchers to either Disney on Ice or Monster Jam. Now, both are coming to Milwaukee in early 2026. So for more information about Coats for Kids, you can go to our website at fox6now.com.
There you go. We'll see you on Wednesday, hopefully, or there are a million sites, again, where you can donate coats. Just head to our website, and you can find all of those locations. Here's a live look outside right now. We have just a tiny little bit coming up of Wisconsin weather experts. Stay with us.
welcome back to Wisconsin Weather Experts. We've been talking a lot about snow, but we're going to talk about something related to weather and something that's coming to the end of an era. No, not Taylor Swift, if you're, again, hearing the word era here, but after more than 200 years, the Farmer's Almanac will publish its final edition. The publication announced that its 2026 edition will be its last, citing that financial challenges of producing, distributing the book has allowed them to not make any more for the future years. For centuries, it was used as a secret formula based on sunspots, planetary positions, lunar cycles, and to generate long-range weather forecasts. The Almanac also contains trivia, jokes, natural remedies. So again, if you do have that, you might want to keep it or get the final edition, kind of a sad end to something fun you can read.
Right, exactly. Well, thanks for staying with us here on Wisconsin Weather Experts. We will see you here tomorrow at noon.